your flying. Very thrilling coming up and out of your chair and flying through the air.
You feel like you've really stepped away from reality and re-entered at the end of the day.
It would not only drop you into the midst of a great adventure, but to give you the thrill of a lifetime.
It's a purely physical experience, and it's very exhilarating, provided you can stand it.
The time you sit down in the seat, you're screaming and yelling, it's intense.
Over 300 million adventurous souls swarm to them each year in search of death-defying drops, head-spinning speeds, and heart-stopping excitement. As you're about to discover, the term amusement park is not to be taken lightly. Sure, they're amusing, but they're also competitive, cutting-edge technological wonders striving for thrill ride domination. The world of amusement parks is not all cotton candy. It's a heated race to see who can build bigger, better, faster, scarier rides with names like Steel Dragon 2000, Terminator, Millennium Force, and Goliath. There are over 1,200 parks worldwide, all trying to lure you in, and we've chosen the 10 best. Over the next hour, you've got a special front row seat for the most classic wood coasters, the most soul-stirring steel coasters, and the wildest wild rides ever built.
The exceptional parks are made up of a number of different things, but I think there's also an element that's kind of undefinable, and it's a sort of magic that comes from when the people who run and create the parks really care about what they're doing.
These are not your ordinary everyday playgrounds. We're talking about world-renowned thrill parks, from Copenhagen to California and New York to Nagashima, known for coasters that fly 95 miles an hour. Extreme rides that shoot you 400 feet into the air. And enough lights to make Las Vegas look like a nightlight. These parks define and explode the concept of an amusement park. Each is unique in its own way and deserves a special spot on our countdown. So finish that snack, climb on in, lock yourself down, keep your hands and feet in at all times, and hold on for the world's best thrill parks. Our first choice takes us to a Scandinavian land of fairy tales and European charm. It's Hans Christian Andersen's Copenhagen, Denmark, home to one of the most popular and oldest standing amusement parks in the world. Built in 1843, it is said to be the place that inspired Walt Disney to build Disneyland. Tivoli Gardens.
Tivoli, I think, survives as such a sterling example because it is, again, so beautiful. There are just almost no other parks like it that combine these incredible gardens with all kinds of wonderful attractions. Its shows are remarkable. In terms of physical beauty, it's almost unparalleled.
It is the 7th most visited park in the world, a remarkable fact in that it is open only 5 months out of the year. Why is it so popular? Because Tivoli seems to have something for everyone. From its world-renowned gardens and fountains to over 28 rides.
I like watching people myself. You see a family going in and they're all smiles and ready to go.
Within its gates, Tivoli offers the world's oldest operating roller coaster. And the brand new and totally terrifying Golden Tower Turbo Drop.
As big and as scary as high as possible.
But it's Tivoli at night that is really amazing. At night, the stars compete with over 110,000 tiny electric bulbs strung through the garden like a magical array of fireflies, leading park-goers to the different amusements. And the magic doesn't end there. Tivoli owns its own firework factory and pyrotechnic designer who puts on a dazzling fireworks display which signals the weary park-goers that it's time to head home after a fun-filled day. Our number 9 park is an icon of amusement park history. Bordering the beautiful beaches of the Atlantic Ocean and the dense population of New York City, this Brooklyn wonderland was once known as America's playground and still attracts over 10 million people every year. But most important, it changed the way the world was entertained. Coney Island.
I grew up in Coney Island. If you grow up there, you never really get over it. There's no other experience like it.
Coney Island began as a collection of amusement parks. Over the years, the face of the park has changed many times, altered by commercial and natural forces. When the subway connected Manhattan to Coney Island in the 1920s, the place was dubbed the Nickel Empire, for good reason. The subway ride cost 5 cents. The rides cost 5 cents each, and a famous Nathan's hot dog was also only 5 cents. An entire day could be spent at Coney Island for well under $1. Today, 2 major fun parks remain, Astroland and Dino's Wonder Wheel Amusement Park, which still boast about 60 rides between them. 2 of which are designated national landmarks. The Cyclone and the Wonder Wheel, which has remained in service since 1920.
You get one of the best views of Coney Island from the Wonder Wheel because it changes constantly. When you're not being scared to death sliding down the tracks, you get to see all different parts of Coney Island, and it's one of the best views.
The historic Cyclone roller coaster is also still going strong, and today many folks still consider it to be the world's greatest. When it was built in 1927, the Cyclone was the tallest, fastest, and tightest turning roller coaster in the world. Charles Lindbergh said it was even more thrilling than flying the Atlantic.
The Coney Island Cyclone is unique, although it has been copied a few times, and so there are coasters that claim to have some of the same unique qualities. They don't, okay? None of them do. It's full of surprises. As you go over a hill, you see 3 or 4 tracks in front of you, and you're not exactly sure which one you're going to. And times where you're turning around a turn and there's a beam coming at you from above. All these things combine to make this a great coaster.
The amazing thing about the Cyclone is that it's old technology. It's 71 years old, yet we keep it in pristine working condition. And because of that, when we go to repair it, everything has to be done exactly the way it was back in 1927. Everything is handmade for this ride. The cars themselves, steel parts that aren't made anymore, we have to actually have machined. Wood parts have to be carved.
Our enduring fascination with the Cyclone may sum up just why Coney Island has held on to its almost intangible appeal for over a century.
I think the future of Coney Island lies somewhat in its past, and that is that it's always been for the masses. Well, there are still 1 million people on the beaches every weekend. People are still down there. Something must be working.
Coming up on World's Best Thrill Parks. Better not eat too much wasabi before tackling this record-breaking coaster at this Japanese thrill park. And it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman, the ride.
It's like a slingshot, like a rubber band. Come around and just shoot you right out of that tunnel.
Welcome back to the World's Best Thrill Parks. For our next thrill, we travel halfway around the world to the land of the rising sun. Our number 8 amusement park is Japan's Nagashima Spaland. Although Nagashima is a relatively small coastal resort 5 hours south of Tokyo, Spaland attracts over 4 million visitors every year. Upon entering Nagashima Spaland, the Western influence is apparent. Many of the rides have English names, and signs of U.S. pop culture are everywhere. But there's no mistaking the distinctly Japanese roots of this massive complex devoted to the universal pursuit of leisure. Spaland offers 3 distinct amusement areas where you can play, eat, and shop until you're ready to ride the longest, tallest, and fastest coaster in the world.
This year, they have opened Steel Dragon 2000. It is truly the king of all coasters today.
That's right. It's the biggest thing to hit Japan since Godzilla. At a cost of $51 million, it's also the most expensive non-themed roller coaster ever built.
I think Steel Dragon probably is the definition of an extreme ride. It's the tallest, it's the fastest, it's the longest, and I think it's really one of the best also. It's just intense in every way.
This full-circuit coaster crushes several world records. It is 8,133 feet long, 2 football fields longer than the former record holder. And it reaches an unheard of 95 miles per hour as it plummets from a 318-foot peak, shattering 2 more world records with a flick of its tail. Waiting in line for this beast only serves to whet your appetite.
Standing in line for a ride is a big part of the ride. You're hearing all these people screaming and you're seeing them going up and down these things and around and up and upside down and what have you. By the end of waiting, you are so keyed up that the effect of the ride, I think, is doubled.
Nagashima also has all those other staples of American amusement parks, like flumes to get everyone on board and watching soaked. As well as those impossible-to-win carnival games and junk food, U.S. and Japanese style.
I always want to eat the greasy burger, the funnel cake, and then I jump on a ride and I always feel really bad afterwards.
When it comes to giving guests an exciting, restful mini vacation, Nagashima Spaland delivers with a combination of world-class thrills and unexpected delights. Downtown Hollywood, California is a land of excitement, glamour, and illusion. But if you drive just 30 miles north of the city, you would crest a hill and see another magical land. It's Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California, and our number 7 choice of the greatest thrill parks in the world.
Six Flags Magic Mountain is definitely a top 10 park because it is one of the few parks battling for world supremacy in terms of thrill ride domination.
Magic Magic Mountain is in the make you fall to your knees and kiss the ground. Happy to be alive after you ride our coasters business. It was built in 1971 and covers over 111 acres of land, quickly becoming one of the worldwide powerhouses of thrill parks. And they just love to make news and break records by introducing a new Scream machine almost every year.
The Viper, I like Batman, the Riddler, Superman, anything that goes real fast. All the extreme, you know, good stuff. I really want to try that Goliath. They got that new one, I guess it drops, and then it goes into a black hole.
That's right. Goliath is the latest addition to the 12 roller coasters currently at Magic Mountain. And it is a monster. A towering 255 feet tall, Goliath hits a screaming 85 miles per hour.
255-foot drop, and you feel your blood move in your body. It's just amazing.
And I rode Goliath. Awesome.
And it's not even the scariest ride in the park. That would be Superman, the Escape. Faster than a speeding bullet. Passengers go from 0 to 100 miles an hour in 7 seconds. The first ride ever to go that fast. Riders are shot 41 stories high and then experience what seems like an eternity of weightless exhilaration or terror.
On the ride, we were screaming and yelling, just from the point we started all the way up and all the way back.
You start out and they give you a humongous boost. When you reach the very top, the whole world is just kind of below you. You can just get a really good view of the park, and then they drop you really, really fast.
From the time you sit down in the seat to the time you get to the top of the thing, it's just, you're screaming and yelling, and it's intense.
Superman the Escape may very well foreshadow the future of roller coasters, the very extreme experience that a roller coaster can give its riders.
If you're looking for a wide variety of roller coaster thrills, Magic Mountain is the place to be.
I don't think that Magic Mountain is going to let up for 1 minute in its quest to build bigger, taller, and faster rides. Whatever they do, it's going to be remarkable, so I'm very much looking forward to it.
Coming up on World's Best Thrill Parks, it's a slice of Americana and a jam-packed adrenaline experience to boot.
You don't know when you're going to fall, and then all of a sudden you just drop.
And find out why the French pronounce fun Parc Asterisk. And we're working our way up to the world's #1 thrill park, a place with so much cutting-edge technology, you'll feel you've taken a ride into the future. Welcome back to the world's best thrill parks. We're almost halfway there, and we've already taken you around the world. So far, we've seen the amazing lights at Copenhagen's Tivoli Gardens, the classic perfection of Coney Island, the East meets West thrill of Nagashima's Spaland, and the smorgasbord of wild rides at California's Magic Mountain. Now it's time for some old-fashioned fun back in the US of A. If you were to ride 10 miles up the Monongahela River from Pittsburgh, you would happen upon one of the most charming and heart-stopping amusement parks in the world. Located in West Mifflin, Pennsylvania, it takes number 6 on our list, Kennywood Park.
Kennywood's a great park because it has a hometown atmosphere. A lot of the rides are older and has a bit of history to it.
That's It's one of America's oldest existing parks, and it includes this classic collection of roller coasters. It captures a lot of different kinds of, amusement park aficionados, both the people who are involved and interested in their history, and the people who are coming for new high-tech amusement attractions.
Kennywood was founded in 1898 as a trolley park to attract customers to ride the trains on weekends. It worked. Families came in droves for rides like the Junior Whip and the Tumblebug. Today, Kennywood is the world's best preserved, most charming, most vigorous gateway into the lost world of turn-of-the-century American amusement parks. They just don't make coasters like this anymore. The Jackrabbit, the sensation of the 1921 season.
I like the old-fashioned roller coasters. You get a nice little thrill, but you don't feel sick at the end of it.
Almost a century later, the Tumblebug is still here, now called the Turtle. And Kennywood has played its role in inventing themed entertainment. In fact, Kennywood may have first devised what's now known as the Dark Ride with the Old Mill, introduced in 1902. Not too scary by New Millennium standards, but still charming. But Kennywood is not a park that dwells on the past. It also has some of the best modern attractions, like the Pitfall.
The Pitfall is about a 251-foot steel tower that you ascend and then descend very quickly at 2.4 seconds, around 70 miles an hour.
You're going to fall, and all of a sudden you just drop.
I love it. My stomach is still up there. But it was great.
Whatever your pace, this park still has that Kennywood charm that's kept families coming here for generation after generation. We move on to an area of the world renowned for gourmet food, haute couture, and really good art. That's right, Paris, France, land of culture and sophistication. Well, it turns out they love amusement parks almost as much as escargot. Just 20 minutes outside of the city limits lies France's Parc Asterisk. And although it has only been open since 1989, this place has become one of the most jam-packed thrill parks on the globe. Asterisk is one of France's favorite cartoon characters, kind of like the European version of Mickey Mouse.
Asterisk is extremely popular with readers and with people in general because it tells stories which are supposed to have happened 50 years before Christ, but actually are happening all the time.
Parc Asterisk is elaborately themed. Visitors can explore Asterisk Village, Forest of the Druids, or ancient Greece, where the rides are named for mythological figures.
Parc Asterisk is one of Europe's leading theme parks. It's a newer park, and it's made a name for itself with its two roller coasters. There's a steel ride there called Gouderix. And more recently, they opened the Tonnerre de Zeus, or Zeus's Thunder, I believe in English, which is one of the best wooden roller coasters in the world. It's earned legions of fans both in Europe and in America, and draws people to go visit just to ride that particular ride.
Makes sense, because some of the first roller coasters were built in France.
The roller coaster is initially a French tradition that was brought back by French showmen from Russia.
Well, they've certainly taken an idea and run with it. This roller coaster has almost too many loops to count.
I love it when you lose your stomach. I love the thrill.
And Parc Asterisk is almost too much to see in one day. But if you get tired, there's this groovy self-propelled glide-through of the park, which will really give you the bird's-eye view of one of the world's most amazing thrill parks. Located a few hours north of London's Big Ben is a seaside resort that has been offering city dwellers a refreshing escape for over 100 years. It's our number 4 amusement park, Blackpool Pleasure Beach in England. Blackpool has earned the number 4 slot in our countdown because it is a living gateway into a bygone era.
England is brash, bawdy.
Sort of kitschy, and it's fun. Great place to go for a weekend.
With attendance in the 7 to 8 million range, Blackpool is the most visited park in England, the 2nd most visited in Europe, and is the 9th most visited park in the world.
Blackpool Pleasure Beach has preserved a lot of historically important attractions. It's managed to stay traditional and yet move into the 21st century by adding new attractions.
Blackpool has over 58 rides in all, the 2nd most of any park in the world, all casually sprinkled throughout the park with no theme and no discernible master plan. It's a magnificent mishmash, an inspired, overwhelming jumble that has thrilled and delighted 5 generations of thrill seekers. Blackpool was founded in 1896 by W.G. Bean, who installed the first major ride. The Hotchkiss Bicycle Railway, very hot stuff for its time. But the real breakthrough was the Flyoplane, a state-of-the-art screen machine that debuted in 1904. And it's still thrilling visitors today. Blackpool Pleasure Beach became famous as a beachside free admission amusement park and has grown tremendously while staying true to its nature. It's a vigorous relic, a living reminder of a time when life was, literally, a day at the beach. Stay tuned. We're coming up to our top 3 choices on World's Best Thrill Parks.
It gives me this big rush in my whole body.
I love the screaming and the giggling.
Welcome back to the World's Best Thrill Parks. Before we reveal our number 3 park, let's do an exercise in psychology. What do you think are the top 10 ways people express themselves on roller coasters? Number 10. Number 9. Number 8. Number 7. Number 6. Number 5. Number 4. Number 3. Number 2. And finally, the number 1 expression. For 8 consecutive years, the National Amusement Park Historical Association has voted Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia, as America's most beautiful theme park. That's only one of the reasons that we've put this park in our number 3 position. This park truly is just that, a park. In fact, the trade journal Amusement Today has given Busch Gardens Williamsburg its Golden Ticket Award for being the best landscaped, the cleanest, and the park with the best food. Attracting well over 2 million people per year to its small Virginia location, this is a true family park with a strong conservation and educational mission.
Although you may not find this particularly attractive, being bald for a vulture is quite practical.
The trained zoological staff at Busch Gardens makes it possible to see up close many rare and exotic animals, in addition to the nearly 700 pets in their pet facility. Now, you might think any park this dedicated to wholesome family entertainment might shy away from having roller coasters that were too big, nasty, and scary. Well, think again. Please keep your hands and arms inside the vehicle until you're ordered to disembark.
Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia combines really spectacular thrill rides with a beautiful scenic design. I just find it great to be walking through this lush forest and coming upon one great roller coaster after another.
Busch Gardens Williamsburg is everything an amusement park should be. Kind of wild, but family friendly. Clean, beautiful, and who knows, you might even learn something about animals.
Busch Gardens of Williamsburg, we're going to continue to see them move forward in terms of thrill ride technology, but they're also going to continue to keep that park as beautiful as it is now. I think there's going to be a lot of promising things coming down the pike in terms of new themed areas and big coasters to go along with it.
Busch Gardens Williamsburg, for a perfect blending of the old country and the new millennium. Now it's time to reveal our number 2 amusement park. If you were going to create a world-class thrill park, you'd want a place where there's something for everybody. You'd want a park near water because the views are so magnificent. And most of all, you'd want the biggest and best cutting-edge white-knuckle scream machines. Put all that together, and you get Cedar Point, Sandusky, Ohio.
We know Cedar Point today because it is clearly the roller coaster capital of the world, with now 14 roller coasters, more than any other park on the planet. It's not just that they build a lot of roller coasters, they build record-breaking roller coasters year after year after year.
Cedar Point has the most unique roller coasters and has a long tradition of being a great roller coaster park.
It is a mecca for coaster buffs. Ground zero for the wind in the hair, heart in your throat thrill seekers who come here from all over the world to sample Cedar Point's astounding roller coasters.
You have to experience it to explain it, really. It's just something that gets your adrenaline going.
because it gives me this like big rush in my whole body.
People are always chasing down that kind of adrenaline rush.
And I love the screaming and the giggling.
You just get all excited. I don't know, I think it's fun.
Enthusiasts can test their mettle with rides like the Magnum XL 200 Mega Coaster. The first coaster to top 200 feet, ushering in the age of the hypercoasters. And then there's Mantis, offering riders the tallest, fastest, and steepest stand-up coaster in the world. They're calling it the world's first Giga Coaster, maybe because it features a record-breaking plunge of 300 feet.
That is certainly one of the greatest steel roller coasters ever built.
We think that we're right on that edge with most of the new technology and all of the things that go with it.
At the turn of the last century, the hottest thing in amusement parks was the newfangled roller coaster. More than 100 years later, isn't it nice to know that some things never change? Coming up, this place combines fun with the future. It's our #1 choice for the best thrill park in the world.
Not only drop you into the midst of a great adventure, but to give you the thrill of a lifetime.
Welcome back to the world's best thrill parks. Before we reveal #1, let's review. Number 10, Tivoli Gardens. Number 9, Coney Island, New York. Number 8, Japan's Nagashima Spaland. Number 7, Magic Mountain, California. Number 6, Pennsylvania's Kennywood Park. Number 5, Parc Asterisk, France. Number 4, England's Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Number 3, Busch Gardens in Williamsburg, Virginia. And number 2, Cedar Point in Ohio. So what could possibly top all that? Only a park that offered something so unique and different that it was almost in a league of its own. A park that instead of being rooted in the past is taking us to the future. Welcome to Universal Orlando, home of 2 parks, Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. They're at #1 on our countdown because, well, when tomorrow's experience parks are built, they'll probably look something like this. Astonishing adventures that push the limits of technology and make the guest the star of the show.
We really wanted to create a whole new kind of immersive experience, to really push the envelope of what had been done up to this date, and really look out into the future to determine what kind of technologies we could use to not only drop you into the midst of a great adventure, but to give you the thrill of a lifetime.
You can't find experiences like you'll find at both Islands of Adventure and the Universal Studios Florida. Their attractions take you into worlds that you've never been in, and they wrap those worlds around you in every direction. You feel like you've really stepped away from reality and re-enter it at the end of the day.
Universal first started creating these wild adventures back in the 70s. Remember Earthquake? And Jaws? The 80s brought a quantum leap in sophistication. Back to the Future was the first ride to marry motion-based simulation technology to super big screen realism.
The Universal Studios I've been about 3 or 4 times, and I like the Jurassic Park ride, I like the Back to the Future ride.
Then, in the 90s, Twister brought that water blast right into the theater, so close you feel like Dorothy on her way to Oz. And Terminator 2 3D, an attraction that combines spectacular in-theater effects with amazing puts-you-in-the-middle-of-the-action 3D footage to create a new kind of theme park thrill. But the greatest great leap forward in the entire world of theme park entertainment resides in Universal's Islands of Adventure. 5 uniquely themed areas under one umbrella park. This park is all about extreme thrills of every kind. From coasters to free fall rides and a few surprises. But the real breakthrough attraction here, the real astonishment, the ride that will define cutting-edge theme park entertainment in this, the new millennium, is Spider-Man. The driving quest of themed entertainment has been, how do we put the guest inside an amazing adventure so they're the star of their own movie? Universal figured it out, and the result may possibly be the ultimate extreme ride.
In The Adventures of Spider-Man, we literally get dropped into the pages of a comic book and live out an adventure with Spider-Man. We get sent out to cover the story for the Daily Bugle newspaper, and we get caught up right smack dab in the middle of the whole thing, meeting up with all the nasty villains of the Sinister Syndicate, and we end up right in the middle of the battle. The result of what we've done here is a kind of experience unlike one you've ever been able to have somewhere else before. In the attraction, we're integrating reality with the illusion of reality. We're doing that with mixing a lot of film elements with some practical, real elements.
The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, it's spectacular through and through, and it really has raised the bar for everybody else in the industry in terms of creating a themed attraction. It's tremendous.
Creating a park that is unlike any other experience in the world keeps us continually trying to push the envelope of both the technology and the creativity one step further. Even when you think it's done, it's sort of how much further can we push this thing?
The imagination and innovation of these engineers have culminated in the attractions at Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure in Florida, the #1 theme park in the world. We've taken you to 5 countries and 10 different cities around the globe to show you the best thrill parks the world has to offer. To give you a look at their histories and a glimpse into their futures. Whether your taste runs towards classic coasters or the latest techno thrills, there's a park for you.
Going to a theme park or an amusement park is the first thing I want to do when I go on vacation. If I'm in a new town, that's my first thought, is get to its amusement park if it has one.
If we're within 100 miles of an amusement park, we're going.
Whether you're a kid or just want to feel like one, visit a thrill park for the time of your life.
Hi, Tracy Gallagher here for the Travel Channel. And if you ever find yourself stuck in the